Welcome to the Solo Investor. This is part 3 of inflation, how to beat inflation and hedge your investments in 2025. Since we already know, inflation is a silent wealth killer, and especially if you're not prepared, it can eat away at your hard-earned money. But don't worry. There are ways to protect your investments and even profit during inflation. In this video, we'll break down how it impacts your portfolio and the best strategies to hedge against it in 2025. But how does inflation impact your investments? During inflation, the purchasing power of money is generally reduced, meaning that if your investments aren't growing faster than inflation, you're actually losing wealth. But the effects do not follow a linear path and can affect asset classes differently, as follows. Stocks. Some sectors thrive while others suffer from rising costs. Bonds. Fixed returns become less valuable as inflation rises. Cash and savings. Holding too much cash means losing purchasing power. Real estate and commodities often act as hedges against inflation. In hedging against inflation, an investor must understand 5 things. 1. Invest in stocks that outperform inflation, since not all stocks are impacted equally by inflation. Focus on sectors that naturally benefit from rising prices. Energy and commodities. Oil, gas, and metals tend to rise with inflation. Consumer staples. Companies selling essential products maintain demand. Technology and innovation. Businesses with strong pricing power. Infrastructure and utilities. Essential services that adjust with inflation. Some examples include Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson. They have shown strong resilience during inflation. 2. Real estate and REITs. Inflation-resistant assets. Real estate is a classic inflation hedge because property values and rental income typically increase over time. Buy rental properties for steady, inflation-adjusted cash flow. Invest in real estate investment trusts, REITs, for diversified exposure. Consider commercial real estate in high-demand areas. In some public traded companies we can find American Tower, AMT. It owns and leases telecom infrastructure globally. Public Storage, PSA, which deals with storage units that can adjust rents with inflation, and Vornado Realty Trust, VNO, which deals with high-quality commercial real estate. 3. Commodities and precious metals. Tangible value commodities and precious metals hold their value when currencies lose purchasing power. Gold and silver are traditional safe havens during inflationary times. Oil and natural gas have been known to have high demand, making them inflation-proof. Agricultural commodities such as rising food prices make a strong hedge versus inflation. Luxury goods with high-end brands often have strong pricing power, as their customers are less sensitive to price changes, which become resistant to inflation. 4. Tips and bonds. Fixed income that fights inflation. Most bonds struggle against inflation, but some are designed to protect your money from rising prices. This is where TIPS, Treasury Inflation-Protected Securities, come in. They usually adjust with inflation. Short-term bonds are less affected by interest rate changes, too. Another type of bonds are floating-rate bonds. The interest rates on these bonds rise with inflation. 5. Beyond traditional assets, protect your wealth with alternative investments. Inflation can erode the value of traditional investments, but alternative assets offer a compelling way to diversify and protect your portfolio. These unconventional investments have the potential to deliver strong returns, even in uncertain economic times. Cryptocurrencies, often dubbed digital gold, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are viewed by some investors as a hedge against inflation and a store of value in a decentralized economy. private equity and venture capital. Investing in high-growth companies before they go public can unlock significant returns, offering opportunities beyond the stock market's fluctuations. Collectibles and fine art, rare artwork, vintage cars, and collectible items tend to appreciate over time, serving as both a passion investment and a potential inflation-resistant asset. By exploring alternative investments, you can build a resilient portfolio that weathers inflation and economic shifts while unlocking unique wealth-building opportunities. Winning the inflation game. Smart strategies for 2025. Inflation is inevitable, but losing value on your investments doesn't have to be. By making smart financial moves, you can not only protect your wealth, but also turn rising prices into an opportunity for growth. Here's how. Diversify with strong performing stocks. Focus on companies with pricing power and steady demand. Invest in real estate and REITs. Property values and rental income often rise alongside inflation. Hedge with commodities and gold. Hard assets like gold and oil can preserve value when the dollar weakens. Use TIPS and floating rate bonds, Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, and adjustable rate bonds help shield your portfolio from inflation. Explore alternative investments. Crypto, private equity, and collectibles offer unique opportunities for higher returns. Inflation doesn't have to shrink your wealth. If you position yourself wisely, you can stay ahead and even profit from economic shifts. Thanks for watching our inflation series. What's your strategy for beating inflation? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an expert investing tip.